doorkeepers will please close the doors. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The prayer this evening will be offered by the good delegate representing Charles County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Lord, I cannot help but see your hand moving today. A day of shared celebration for this nation, for the dramatic and echoing day in this experiment we call democracy, the peaceful transition of one president to the next, and for the celebration of a life of man who brought many people together to change the hearts and minds of a nation and expose the evils of segregation and the barbarity of racism. This is indeed a day that you have made. Lord, through the civil rights movement, you taught us the true faith is fighting for what's right, even when the entire nation is against you. The challenge of relying on the wisdom of love and peace when you're dehumanized and brutalized. Fighting to let the faith of our light shine to others while we are sitting in our own darkness. You revealed how easy it is to have faith when we know the outcomes, but it's so much harder to move forward when we cannot see the path ahead. But I would rather walk by faith than rely on my own foolish sight. Lord, I know you don't make mistakes. I know the future is nothing to fear, and I know that you're holding it all in your hands. So I'll put one foot in front of the other. I will never look back, because what you have for me is better. You are my rock, my fortress, my shield, my comfort, my peace, my salvation, my refuge, my guide. You are my rock. And you have this all figured out. And I trust in what you are doing. Amen.
Amen. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 117 members present, the House is now in session. The clerk will read the journal from the previous day.
Annapolis, Maryland, January 17, 2025.
Recognizing the Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Move so much be considered the reading of the journal.
So ordered. Petitions, memorials, and other papers. Consent calendar of introductory House bills, number 14. The clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 455, Delegate Kaiser, Health and Government Operations.
Recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So much be considered the reading of House Bills 455 through 497.
Hearing no objection, the bills are read the first time and referred to the appropriate committees. Today we will be having our Martin Luther King Jr. Day address, which will be offered by the good delegate representing Baltimore City, Stephanie Smith.
Can y'all hear me? It's tall people problems. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good evening, dear colleagues, friends, guests, and a very special good evening to my family. Tonight, I have been granted the tremendous opportunity to deliver the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. address to the Maryland House of Delegates. Now, this is a tradition for which I am personally grateful because Dr. King is someone whose legacy deserves to be remembered in full. I do not remember discovering Dr. King. His voice, his likeness, his speeches and quotes, it's as if they were always there. And as a young child, I had an opportunity to visit his childhood home and the King Center in Atlanta. And this was a very special core memory for me because, as many of you may know, in my home state of Virginia, we did not have Martin Luther King Day. We had Martin Luther King, General Robert E. Lee, General Stonewall Jackson Day. Now, thankfully, that disgraceful practice was discontinued. However, in Alabama and Mississippi, the home states of my paternal grandparents, Dr. King's legacy on today, his legacy of freedom, humanity, and justice, is still commemorated along with General Lee. See, the same America that King fought to advance has always simultaneously represented both awesome opportunity at odds with an embrace of slavery, at odds with Jim Crow, and at odds with even current systems that nourish wealth gaps, health disparities, and the highest rate of incarceration in the industrialized world. Thankfully, I had another opportunity as a teen to learn much more about Dr. King. I joined an organization called Operation Understanding, and it was a youth group that brought together Black and Jewish teens to retrace many of the sacred sites of King's civil rights legacy. While traveling across Atlanta, Montgomery, Selma, and Birmingham, I could feel the spirit of Dr. King, as well as many of the countless and faceless organizers of all ages, races, and backgrounds who boycotted discriminatory public transit, mourned the domestic terrorism that claimed the lives of 4 little church girls, and marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge for the freedom to fully participate in our democracy. See, ordinary people did extraordinary things because of King's vision, his servant leadership, and they continue to do so because of his ultimate sacrifice. It is not lost on me that the rights that Dr. King gave his very life to acquire are presently being watered down and even eliminated in some parts of our country. His fight for the economic dignity of every worker and a public leadership that was guided by love and compassion for the most vulnerable. It's celebrated in words, but not regularly enough in deeds. Considering that so much of Dr. King's words of inspiration are often overlooked, I want to unpack a few of the powerful and lesser-known quotes from Dr. King that should serve as a charge for our time here during session and beyond. See, we don't know the years that will be granted, so let us make them count with the intentionality and the commitment that Dr. King gave to his all too brief 39 years. Today, Dr. King's legacy is too often sanitized, distorted, and cherry-picked for convenience and comfort. That's truly a disservice to the arc of his intellectual and spiritual journey. He not only had a very well-publicized dream, but years later experienced an epiphany that the passage of time alone wouldn't transform the nightmare of unjust conditions into the American dream that we all deserve. He noted, human progress never rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts and the persistent work of dedicated individuals. And without this hard work, time itself becomes the ally of the insurgent and primitive forces of irrational emotionalism and social stagnation, so that we must somehow get rid of this idea that time alone will solve the problem. We must use the time. This is from the American Dream speech he gave July 4th, 1965 at Ebenezer Baptist Church. Now, every session of the Maryland General Assembly is defined by the fixed 90 days that we have to use the power of public policy to improve the lives of our neighbors and fellow Marylanders. We all have the same 24 hours from which to prepare, research, leverage our staff and intern support to solve pressing problems. Many of us understand that this finite time isn't simply a challenge, but an obligation, as King reminds us, to use the time. We've been granted to improve the lives of Marylanders who want to earn fair wages, experience safe working conditions, and live in affordable housing. and to feel safe at home, school, work, and at play. During an address delivered at the 11th Southern Christian Leadership Conference Convention in 1967, King discussed the exquisite power of love in action, saying, "Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against love." On a day that has now ironically become defined by acts of charity, let us realize that charity has its place, but it will never, ever replace the pursuit of justice. While I personally, even this very day, engage in a singular act of service and tribute to King, I struggle with the notion that we may be missing the larger call. Pointedly, King once observed, "True compassion is more than flinging a coin at a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring." Providing charity and acts of service, while noble and important, will never absolve us of King's higher call to advance justice in every area of our lives. Justice corrects the systems that make charity necessary and is the truest manifestation of the love we should be putting into action through our public service. As this MLK Day draws to a close, let us remember that Dr. King was a man. He is a symbol, and he had much more to share with us than a dream. He deserves to be remembered in his fullness, for he inspired, angered, activated, and challenged millions of people around the world. We owe it to him and to ourselves to wrestle with everything he communicated on how we can erase the scourge of racism and inhumanity. In our ultimate tribute to Dr. King, let us be compelled to use the power of our remaining time in session and in public service to allow justice to reign and correct everything that stands against love. Love for our nation, love for our communities, and ultimately, love for one another. Thank you.
Excellent job. Recognizing the good delegate from Prince George's County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to journalize the remarks by the good delegate from tonight for Martin Luther King's birthday.
So ordered. That ends the work at the desk. Delegation announcements. Any delegation announcements? Caucus announcements. Yes, recognizing the Democratic Caucus Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, the House Democratic Caucus will be meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in the Prince George's County Delegation Room. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any other? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Delegate from the Eastern Shore.
Thank you. The Republican caucus will not be meeting tomorrow morning. We will be meeting on Wednesday. Thank you.
Okay. Delegate from Prince George's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, we all know earlier today a new administration has taken hold in Washington. And as chair of the Latino caucus, I find it my responsibility to share with you guys a RAID hotline number for your constituents. The number is 1-888-214-6016. This is a number that you can share with your constituents for any encounters with federal law enforcement. We want to make sure that we're keeping our communities informed and safe, and I ask that you share this information with them. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Could you repeat the number, please?
Oh, absolutely. The number is 1-888
214-6016. And this number you can call is 24/7. It is in English, French, as well as Spanish. Thank you.
Okay. Any other caucus announcements? Okay. Seeing none. Any personal or guest announcements? The delegate representing Baltimore City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good evening, colleagues. I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome former delegate Clarence Tiger Davis, who's here with us this evening. He served the House of Delegates from 1983 to 2007, and he was also here tonight to take part in the Black Caucus's MLK Day commemoration. So thank you for being with us.
Okay. Any other personal guest? Delegate from Arundel.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, I'd like to recognize some fine folks from District 33B. Not only do I have my wife joining us, I have a fine young man who's going to be 7 years old coming up, John Monroe. His mom, Laura, and his dad, George, and this is his 30th state house that he's visited. His father was the Secretary of State for Washington State many years ago. Thank you for visiting us.
Any other personal or guest announcements? Okay. Calling on the protocol chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Come on down, you sunshines. Right in front. All right, y'all looking good tonight. Okay, I know that I did not get a chance, you new sunshines, because some of y'all are brand new. But I just want to make sure you all know the drill. Okay, the drill is when I call your name, I want you to step up and you wave your hand. Let your delegate know who you are this week and who you will be serving all of us. Are you ready? Okay, first up, Alexander Allen, Montgomery County District 16, Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. Sebastian Blondet, Howard County District 13, homeschool student. Serendy Bunner, Garrett County District 1A, Northern Garrett High School. Audrey Ann Copeland Spidey, Ken County District 36, Ken County High School. Ashley Johnny, Baltimore County District 8, Eastern Technical High School. Grace Menakowski, Calvert County District 27C, Huntington High School. All right, this might be a short list this week, y'all, but that's all right. We're going to get better and better as time goes on. Thank you very much for being us tonight, you sunshines. I hope to see you again. I will be announcing y'all again on Thursday, Friday, one of them speaker. You know me, I don't know the difference. One of these nice little days I will be, saying your names again, let people know how good you did this whole week. But I want you to go and visit your delegates while you here this week, and I want you to have a great week. Okay? Thank you. You can be dismissed. And I just have one more thing, Madam Speaker. All you know who I am. I'm your protocol chair. Okay, but I want all of you nice people, I sent you a nice little letter. Okay, so I want you to come see me. I'm in room 205. Okay, so now I'm not going to say what it is because you all are smart delegates. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker, and you have a good night yourself.
Thank you. Quorum call.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their presence? The clerk will call the roll. There have been 117 members present. The House is still in session. Recognizing the majority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stands adjourned until Tuesday, January 21st at 10 a.m.